So, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to look at M&E indicators. You cannot monitor and evaluate anything on Earth if you don't have indicators. So what does that mean? That means we need to have a clear-cut knowledge of what indicators are. We need to talk about indicators. We need to know how to craft indicators. We need to know very many other things about indicators. The moment you know indicator that much, then you will be good to go. And what does that mean? That means, I think since I started teaching M&E, both at bachelor's level and at master's level, I've never missed to set a question on indicators. So if I don't set a number on indicators, then you know that is not an M&E question. And many times when I'm setting it, I make it compulsory because I want to separate the sheep from the goats. I want to separate the sheep from the goat. I want to differentiate clearly between those who have understood the concept of monitoring and evaluation of health promotion program and those who have understood and those who have not understood. So I set a number which is compulsory on M&E indicators. And I want to assure you, even this time round, I'm also going to set, but good enough, this time I now have question bank. For the few years I've been teaching this subject, I've been accumulating a significant number of questions. They are in the library. So I want you to go to the library and you get a copy of all the past questions, the past papers. And you can do discussion around that. When you get those past papers, you come back to the reading lecture slide that I have given. You try to go through and see if you can answer them. Is that okay, colleagues? Is that okay, members?
Yes, doctor.
Dr. I can proceed.
Is there an online library?
Yes, the online library is there, but you may liaise with the librarian on how to navigate it. So Derek, you can go on behalf of the class, you go to Resource Center, Ubaga. You will get the librarian there. Then next week when we meet, you can go to the library also. You get the librarian there, they guide you out to navigate the online one, the online library services. Then the one which are physical, like the physical past papers, you can also get them and you photocopy. Then you do discussion. You know, at this level of learning, we don't only stop learning in class. Learning continues even after class. Even from your home, you continue to learn. Is that okay?
Yes, doctor.
At some point, I wanted to set, they call it open book exam, but students have refused. People are not interested in open book exam. I don't know why, but the policy provides for it. Where in the open book exam, they set exam in such a way that you come with your notebook, you come with your reading material, you come with the computer, you come with the internet. Then they give you a specific period of time and they give you the question, you start doing. But the good thing with the open book exam is that as you are searching to get the answer, you are also learning. And that is part of the objective of that kind of examination system. So that people continue to learn as they look for answers. Which to me, I think is really good. But many times students do not want it. I don't know why.
For us, we want it.
You want open book? Yeah, it's okay. We can dialogue on this next week when we see them. I give for you open book exam.
There must be a reason why the students are refusing.
Open book is not easy.
Well, we shall do the traditional one.
The questions
live
for interpretation.
We shall go live.
Okay, let's proceed. So M&E indicators, these are some of the learning objectives. I expect you to know indicators and key terms, to understand how indicators are linked to frameworks, to describe at least some common indicator metrics, to list sources of indicators, and also to select indicators and define indicators for an M&E plan. We have already talked about M&E plan. You know the template, you know how it looks like. All that you need to do is now to identify the project of your choice and begin to try to carefully come up with an M&E plan. So these are our learning objectives. Key terms, when they talk about quantitative metrics, what comes into your mind? These are data which can be measured in numerical scale, on a numerical scale. So there are some indicators which are quantitative, or there are many indicators which are quantitative. Quantitative means they can be measured in terms of numbers, what we are calling numerical scale. They are compared in terms of numbers. For example, you can have this sample indicator can be percentage of health facilities that offer ARV, antiretroviral therapy. This one is expressed in terms of numbers or on numerical scale. So you can also have percentage.
Dr. Man has gone off.
Sorry about the challenge. We were talking about indicators in monitoring and evaluation of health promotion. So basically, this is what I'm saying. When you talk about performance, you are referring to how effective or efficient something is in relation to the activity of a project or a program. Then qualitative metrics. Qualitative metrics, these are measures. These are measures that are more of subjective opinion. So qualitative metric, there's a lot of subjectivity in it, as opposed to quantitative. Quantitative metrics, they are in numbers. You either have this or you don't have. You have this, the way Cotias was telling us, some organization, they run to numbers because that's how they can lie, how they can deceive funders, so that funders can believe in them. But the opposite, which is qualitative metric, for it, there's a lot of subjectivity. To be like that. You are not in class today, but you have enough explanation why you cannot be in class. And not that they are not correct, they are correct. But they vary from passion to passion. So sometimes you can have indicators which are like that. They are called qualitative metrics or qualitative indicators. You can have customer feedback. Passion giving you feedback, customer satisfaction. When somebody is satisfied with your service, the person will be talking well about the service. Customer awareness, customer experiences, or consumer comment. So they share with you and what have you, and you listen to their stories, and you make judgment whether they are satisfied or they are dissatisfied. So those are qualitative metrics. They are an achievement when we talk about an activity, project, or program. You can also have indicators to measure achievement, maybe percentage of HIV positive women who receive and baseline. Baseline, this is another very important terminology you need to know. This is the situation at the sorry, I've written at the outset, but should be at the onset of the activity, project, or program. As you start to implement a project, you must know the situation at the start. Just at the point of starting, you need to know the situation. And that is what we call baseline. It is the situation before a program or activity begins, and is the starting point for result monitoring, such that when you begin to administer your intervention, after time T, you can be able to assess and see whether you have made progress or not. So that is how it helps you a lot in that regard. Even when you want to set target, you must first have a baseline. Without baseline, you cannot set proper targets. You can never set proper target without baseline. You must know the situation before the onset of an activity or a project or a program. So that is baseline. Members, are we together? Hello, members, are we together?
Yes,
Yes, we
Doctor.
are.
Yes, Doctor.
Yes, Doctor, we are together.
Okay, you know, I don't want to talk like I'm in a shrine. In a shrine, you talk when you are tired. Now you keep quiet. That is what witch doctors do. So me, I don't want to talk like that. I want to talk to people who are listening. So accountability, this is responsibility, taking responsibility for performance or for achievement of an activity. When you are taking responsibility, you accept to be accountable for it. Then that one we call it accountability. You are accepting responsibility. You accept to be responsible for this and that. Of course, being responsible means sometimes you can attract positive reward. Sometimes you are also negatively rewarded, especially if tasks have not been achieved. You can be negatively rewarded by you being fired as the project head because you are not effective. So by accepting to take responsibility means you are accountable. Validity is the extent to which a measure or a test accurately measures what is intended to measure. The opposite of validity is reliability. The consistency of the data when collected repeatedly using the same procedures and under the same condition. When you have to collect data, assuming that the situation of Kampala and Karamoja are similar, I should be able to get something related. There should not be too much differences. Then we say the tool is reliable. Bias, these are any effect is something that leads to error. So validation, this is a process used to confirm the accuracy or reliability of data that has been collected source. So what does that mean? If you want to validate something, maybe you have collected data, and now you want to check the data for how accurate it is, how reliable it is. But then when you are to check how accurate and how reliable the data is, you may not rely on that data source. You may not need to look for an alternative source in order for you to check against it. So then we say you are validating. Variation is the difference in the output of a process or input to a process over time. Yeah, when you have your output, you have your processes, sometimes there can be some difference that can come over time. So you call it variation. You can have common cause variation, spatial cause variation. This is more detailed, but you can leave it out. Surveillance, we are not going into this detail. You can read this. This is the ongoing systematic collection, analysis, interpretation, and dissemination of data regarding health-related events. For example, you want to collect data about a particular disease, maybe about malaria, then we say you are doing surveillance. Analyze data about malaria, you interpret the data about malaria, you disseminate the data about malaria, then we say you are doing what? You are doing surveillance. Trend is the general direction in which tracking data tend to move either upward, either downward. You are checking the trend. For example, maternal mortality ratio in Uganda, you check the trend. Maybe the previous year, what was it? Last year, what was it? This year, what was it? And you can project what it is like, under 5 mortality rate, something similar to that. So that is trend. Program is an overhacking national or subnational response to a disease. Program is somehow broad. So it includes a set of activities which are marshaled to attain specific global, regional, or country or subnational objectives, like what those of courtiers are doing in American embassy. So for them, they have predominantly programs, not projects. Projects are subset of programs. An activity or a set of activities designed to achieve specific objective with specified resources and specified implementation schedules. So that's why I'm saying that projects are actually a subset of a program. So it has a more narrow scope, but the scope of a program is very wide. That's why I was telling you the program can be at global level, regional, country, or subnational objectives. So indicator framework, let's leave this one out. Logical framework, we shall come to this. So I'm bringing you to this, managing by indicators. Managing by indicators. What are we saying about managing by indicators? We are saying that managing by indicators is the only way for managers to stay on top of the game. To stay on top of the game, manage using indicators. Very important. So what is an indicator? Members, before I give you what I have, let us brainstorm on this. When they talk about indicators, what comes into your mind? From what I've already said so far. You can raise up your hand.
An indicator can be taken as something to gauge the status.
Okay, look what you speak. Flavia, I'll bring you on board. Flavia, first mute.
Okay, I was saying indicator is something that tries to state the status of something or of a situation.
Okay, situation, good, good. Where's Adiali, Flavia? Where are you?
Yes, I'm here. Yes, sir.
Yes, you speak. What is an indicator?
An indicator is something that is guiding you to do something.
Something that is guiding you to do something, which is like something and something.
Yeah,
There
something you're trying to look for.
There are too many something in it. So yes, it guides you very good. I have picked the point, guiding. So it guides you very good. Julius, Apollo Julius.
Yes. In simple terms, an indicator is a measurable value that is used to evaluate or assess a particular phenomenon. They usually are used to track progress or performance, so in a special area that maybe you're executing the activities in.
Yes, Opolota has even brought the point closer to home. It's a measurable aspect. There must be something to do with measurement in it. Very good, very good. My namesake, Amos. Amos.
Yes, sir.
Your microphone is already on. So what is an indicator?
An indicator is we can say it is a milestone which is used for measuring the input or the outcome of an activity, whether you have achieved or not.
Okay, okay, good. Good namesake. Are you in Karenga?
Yes.
How is the internet there?
The internet is fair.
You know, Karenga is now like home to me. Yeah. Karenga is a very good place. I've enjoyed that mountain. Yes, Maureen Kayaga.
An indicator is a measurable characteristic or feature that is used to give us an assumption of what we intend to achieve. For example, if I want to assess the nutrition aspect of a given age group in a community, I'll need something like weight. I can use as an indicator. Yes, doctor.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much. Alex Waibi.
I can say that an indicator is a quantitative matrix that provides info to monitor performance and measure achievements, determine accountability. I don't know whether I can take it in that angle.
No, you don't need to be 100% correct, because we are learning. Otherwise, if you are 100% correct all the time, then why are we in class? I see. So don't get worried about whatever answer you have given. We are learning. Yes, Bikan Sobera Patrick Amoti. Hello, Bikan Sobera, please.
Yes, doctor.
What do you say, sir?
Yes, like colleagues are saying, an indicator is that helps provide an overall summary of the outcomes of a project or a situation.
Yes, good. Maybe we are going to stop with Evelyn at 0.
Dr. Mona, sorry for.
Yes, sir.
Evelyn, have you ever Evelyn? Hello, Evelyn.
Pardon? Yes, doctor.
What is the evaluation? I mean, what is the indicator?
An indicator,
yes,
is what we use like to get specific, to answer specific questions. For example, how we are going to measure the progress of things. Either it could be a quantitative metric or qualitative, something that you can use to monitor performance, achievements, or also get accountability.
Hello, Dr. Mona.
Okay, we will continue from there. Yes.
I think we're even going far. To guys who drive, to me, I'm taking an indicator as something which directs you to where you're going, to identify where there is a problem when it comes to monitoring and evaluation.
Yes, Alex is saying an indicator is a signpost. You are all correct. Indicator is a signpost of change. It points to the direction of change. Something, you know, the use of a signpost. Signpost is not just a statue, but it stands there pointing to you something. So indicator, we can say, is a signpost of change. So you are all correct. Now, this is what I have. An indicator is a very key elements of a project or a program. By a variable, we mean its value changes. It does not necessarily need to have static value. That's why when you are setting an objective, be careful that it must have at least an indicator in it. Some whose value can change from one respondent to the next over time. So what about measurement? By measures, we mean an objective calculation of the values. The value is not just there by default, but it can be objectively calculated. So that's why we are saying an indicator is a variable that measures key elements of a project or a program. Or you can say, what about element? What do we mean by this element? Element will mean input, processes, output, outcome, and impact. So or we can say an indicator is a signpost of change. Or you say it is a measurable parameter that provides an overall summary of a given situation. Now, colleagues, sometimes when I ask you to define an indicator and you tell me some, depending on the marks, it may be there like 3 or 4 marks. I don't expect you to say it's a variable that measures key element of a project or program, and I will be sure that you know how to cram. I will be sure that you know how to cram, but then for me to be sure that you know, you can also expound a little bit and tell me what you mean by a variable, what you mean by measurement, what you mean by key elements of a project or a program, and you stop there. If you go beyond that, then you are beginning to set your own question. Am I clear on this, colleagues?
Yes, you are, Doctor.
Okay, so it is as simple as that. Don't go deeper than this, but don't even be too elementary. So it is a variable. That variable means is the value changes from one respondent to the next over time. Then that variable should be able to measure key elements of a project. Measurement means it has some objective calculation of the values in it. Then the key elements of a project are input processes. Processes are also called activities. Output, and you have so again, we are saying that indicators provide critical M&E data at every stage of program implementation. Maybe at input or processes, you say, what was the program carried out as planned? If so, how well was it carried out? You can ask yourself such question. And for you to have this, you need to craft indicators related to what? To input and processes. What about output? Did the expected change occur? If so, how much change occurred? Outcome, as the outcome change in desired direction? If so, how does the change signal program success? So what we are trying to say by crafting this question, we are saying that indicators provide critical M&E data at every stage of program implementation, be it at input level, at process level, output, outcome, or impact level. So let's look at indicator metrics. Common indicator metrics. Some of the common indicator metrics, the first one can be count. You can use count to quantify indicators. Maybe number of providers trained, numbers of condoms distributed, numbers of this and that, number of students in M&E class, number of the ABCD, numbers of XYZ, you use count. That is one metric that can be used. Then two, you have calculation in terms of percentages, rates, and ratios. So colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, when you want to craft indicator, be sure, should I use count? Should I use calculation in terms of percentages, rates, and ratios? You should be the one to decide. So if you are to use calculation in terms of percentages, rates, and ratios, then you can have, these are just example of out of the many. Percentages of facilities with trained ART providers. Percentage of female sex workers who use condom, and last sex with a client. So you're using percentages. So those are also indicators. You remember in your M&E plan, you have a column for indicators. By the way, when I tell you to populate your M&E plan, now I begin to look at those ones. I look at under the column for indicator, I see how you have put. Whether you have used count in terms of numbers and what have you have used calculation in terms of percentages, rates, and ratios. I look at that. Then some extent you can also have what they call index and composite measures. Index, like for example, index of infection control prevention. There are some indicators that use index. You can read a little more about that. Then there's what they call also DALIs and QUALIs. DALIs and QUALIs, these are composite indicators. Composite means in that indicator, they have many other sub-indicators in it. Another one is SURE, standard unit of output. We shall look at that at a later stage. So DALIs is disability adjusted life years. Disability adjusted life years. We are not going into the detail of that, but if time requires, we shall talk a little more on that. So you can use this as a metric for indicators, index and composite measures. Then after that, you can use thresholds to measure indicators. Threshold, this include the presence of something or the absence of something. Presence of disease or absence of disease, you move from presence of. So they are these are what level or standard. They have these, they are fixed. So you can also have qualitative metrics as measures of what indicators. So example of qualitative metric, you can have customer feedback, customer satisfaction, customer awareness, customer experiences, customer comment, or consumer comment. I get the point. Maybe people are buying some product that is on the market. You have to hear about the comment, what comment they say about the product. I get the point. So the comment that they make about the product will make you judge whether the product is okay or not okay, whether something has to be done to improve the quality or not. So those are some of the metrics. These are the 5 matrices that you can use when crafting indicators. But what I'm trying to say here is that who is the project lead? You should be not just which one you should use, but also which one is more appropriate. You should know the one that is more appropriate and the one that can work well for you. Then, ladies and gentlemen, hello, members.
Doctor, you're breaking. Yes, Dr. Mana.
Dr. Mana.
I'm breaking, eh? Are you not hearing well?
No, you're breaking a bit.
What is happening?
The problem is, I don't know.
You're breaking a bit.
Oh, sorry. Now that one.
Maybe the network is a bit weak. You can help and put the video off and we try to see. Sometimes the video can take a lot of also.
The net is beyond my control. Okay, let me hope it will improve. So these are some of the indicator metrics that you use. Count, calculation in terms of percentages, rates, and ratios, index and composite measures, threshold qualitative metrics. metrics. So these are the limitation. Whatever it is must have some limitation. Nothing is too perfect. If it is blood safety, then you cannot monitor private facilities very well. If it is sexual behaviors, maybe, for example, using condom or condom use, number of sexual partners to determine the sexual behavior of somebody. And you ask whether the person uses condom. And you ask the number of sexual partners the person has. The person will first judge who you are. I see. When the person looks at Derek very well, Derek is asking me this question: how many sexual partners I have? And yet he can be a potential customer. Then the person will tell you, I've never had sex before. I get the point. So there will be that self-reporting bias. The person will tell you anything. And of course, you cannot say they are wrong. They may be right. They may be right, but at the bottom line that you can, and for that matter, your indicator, you have some limitation. So now if it has some limitation, you begin to get to be careful how you ask the question. You can ask it in an hidden way, but not that without necessarily attracting a wrong response. Without necessarily attracting wrong response. You can probably, maybe if you want to bring this question about number of sexual partners, you start talking about the importance of having sex. Sex is good, like this, blah, 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 blah. By the way, how many partners have you ever had in life? Then the person can say, maybe this one is not going to crucify me so much. And the person tells you something. But even in trying to explain like that, you're already beginning to bias the mind of the person, which is also a limitation. Eston, you can mute yourself. Eston, mute yourself.
You can continue, sir.
So, population-based HIV you can also have biases related, you can also have population bias. So what I'm trying to say in this slide is that every indicator has some form of limitation.
So you are breaking.
We can't hear you.
We are not hearing enough.
No, members, you're not hearing.
No, we are not hearing. It's breaking.
Oh my good God, now what can I do? My fear is I'm using Airtel, but if I change to MTN, my fear is that the network can get interrupted. I mean, can disappear for a while. Let me try changing to MTN.
Thanks to what they try. You try MTN and see.
Hello, members.
Yes, please.
Is
Now
it
we can
better?
hear you.
Dr. Max, clear now.
Okay. You know, this thing of internet sometimes is very difficult to control.